Oh, YouTube, what's really good? My name is Vivid, and we're just going to be continuing the theme of tier listing things related to the WBE, specifically the VGC side. If you would like to see me analyze the teams, or what we're doing today is the logos for each team, if you'd like to see me do something like that for the single side, please let me know in the comments down below. A big shout out, before we get into this, to just everybody for all the support lately. We hit 4,000 subscribers. I am incredibly stoked about that. I would like to say at the beginning of this, one, thank you very much. Two, if you're not already subscribed and you've been thinking about it, you might as well pull the trigger. About 70 something, maybe 80% of my views are coming from people who aren't subscribed, and we should work to make that number a little lower. Thank you, though, so much for everything. It means the absolute most. But yeah, so today we're ranking the logos, the logos for each team in the WBE, the VGC side of things. And this is going to be based on a lot of criteria. I'm not going to lie to you. I went to college for photography and digital media, so I had to take a decent amount of graphic design classes. They were just required in that degree, even though it was photography, not graphic design. So I have a decent understanding. I get by. I'm not the best graphic artist. It's not my number one medium. I'm not the best graphic designer by any means, but I think I understand enough to get by and typically make my own things once in a while. So we're going to use the knowledge I have and also just a bunch of random criteria that I'll kind of bring up while we're ranking things. So let's rank these logos. This is going to be a salty tier list. I can already tell, because people get real upset about art. So let's just crack a few eggs and start it off with my logo. I'm going to put it in, I made this logo. Honestly, like I said, I can get by. I think my logo is good. I think it has a good color scheme, sort of like the red, it's like almost like a magenta color, like that red magenta color, the deep purple, and then that light blue. It's supposed to be kind of like neon themed. It almost reminds me of like a Texas Roadhouse logo. I don't know, or like not logo, but the sign down here. So South Texas Stabilized. I'm not going to sit here and talk about my logo for a ton of time. I think that's kind of boring, but I think my logo is fine. And also something else to note before we get into this, if you want merch with my logo or specifically other things related to me, let me know that in the comment section down below. I've been thinking about putting out a shirt with my logo on it. And if that's something you would like, let me know. All right, now we're going to actually start rating things. Okay, poise. This is I think this is actually, okay, I know nothing about sports, or I know a little bit about baseball, enough to get by. I think this is based on an actual logo. Like a lot of these are based on actual sports teams. Like Dan's is the Minnesota Vikavolt, which is like the Minnesota Vikings, I'm pretty sure. I think this is based on something. Like, I don't know if this is based on an actual sports team logo or not. I have a problem with this logo where it looks like the cat wouldn't really fit through this little space in the D. I think it's cool. This style of font is not my favorite, even a little bit. I understand it's kind of like classic looking and a lot of people like things like that. I think it's neat. I don't think it's definitely, oh, sorry, this is definitely a logo. I forgot my tiers. Okay, so let me explain my tiers real quick. The top tier is going to be, I wish this was mine. So that logo is like, oh, wow, this logo is incredible. I really, really like it. Very good logo. Wow. It's self-explanatory. It's definitely a logo, is like middle of the road. I think that it's not good, or it's not great, but it's not bad. So it's like somewhere in the middle. This is neat, is like this logo has some cool things going for it, but we could work on some things. And then rebrand is, I don't like this. I don't know if anyone's going to hit rebrand. We'll discuss it as we keep going. Anyways, for Poise's logo, specifically the Detroit Littons, I just don't like the way the cat is sliding through. I mean, cats can go through small space. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and analyze it from a perspective. Dan's logo is fine. I don't wish it was mine. Again, I'm not really a big fan of this style. I don't want to put it in, I think I'm going to put it here. I think Dan's logo is fine. I think it's good. I think both of these logos are good. I think these are the ones that are more based on sports teams, at least like the design of the logo. So they get points for that. It's just not something that I'm personally a massive fan of. And this is my tier list. So we're putting in both of these, and it's definitely a logo. This is probably going to upset some people. Like Dan's logo is cool. It's got a lot going on. I'm not a fan of the font, even a little bit. And there's something about like perfect symmetry in logos that, one, I think it has to be done really, really well. Like if you cut this logo in half, it's perfectly symmetrical. And I appreciate that sometimes, just not all the time. So I don't know. Well, I guess we'll discuss that later. But yeah, I mean, it's a good logo. It's just not my favorite. Okay, Gardevoir Guardians. This is Versus Network. This logo has a really clean color palette. It's one shape. I think it's like almost there. It's like almost in very good logo. Wow. I think if the Gardevoir, like if the circle behind it would have been bigger and the Gardevoir would have been like breaking the frame of the circle, I think I would give it to it. As it is, it's just not super dynamic, if that makes sense. It's just a big circle with Gardevoir Guardians. But the color palette's nice and the design is really clean. I just think I would like the Gardevoir like breaking the frame, or maybe like not a circle behind it. I don't know. That's a hard sell. London Bisharps. This is a good logo. This is the first one I'm going to put very good logo. Wow. It's kind of akin to Dan's logo. I think the color palette's better, which also this is just like personal preference. I really like purple, but there's something about this color palette when compared to this one where this one looks so much more contrasty and like it's more complex. I'm not a fan. I feel like I get really caught up on fonts. Like so far, I don't like any fonts that have been used, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm really picky about fonts and typefaces and what gets used. I don't know. This one's actually not bad. This one's not bad. I think if you're designing a logo, it should be a really clean sans serif font, in my opinion. That's why I don't super love this Vikavolt font. It's like kind of decorative almost. This Gardevoir Guardians font is fine. It's fine. I mean, even the font on mine isn't like, I don't think it's anything to write home about. But again, this was, I don't know, it's supposed to look like neon. Whatever. Yeah, I think this logo is good. I think it's good. This one I think is incredible. The Aussie Gliders, this is going to be an instance where I break my own rule. The font here is not something I'm in love with, but the overall aesthetic of the logo is fantastic. It's very cute. It's very clean. I think this is a little shiny boy, right? I think this is what the shiny form of Emolga looks like. I should know, I drafted it. But yeah, the color palette's incredible, which I think, you get, it's probably easier to sort of like design around an already established color palette, but either way, this is very good. It's dynamic. It's not like super symmetrical. You can't just cut it in half. I appreciate that a lot in logo design, when something isn't just like a big circle or, just like a symmetrical object. I appreciate that. So yeah, I think this logo is super top tier. Sierra's logo, I'm going to put in very good logo. Wow. I like it. I'm not a super big fan of stroking an entire logo with this thick of white. Is that in her actual logo though? Or is that just how this is on the tier list? I don't know. I'm using the same tier list that I did for the like team tier list video. Also, it's almost impossible if the logo is like this size to read what this says when the logo is a lot smaller. Like it's Toronto Maple Muse, right? Which I get. It's like really hard to, like, when a logo is shrunk down to read anything. This font, again, like it's almost ineligible. The word gliders, like Aussie always comes through, but gliders is really hard to read for me. And I think that's something that you should pay attention to in logo design or like typeface choice. Also, I'm alternating between the words font and typeface. I know that they do not equate, but just let me follow my vernacular here. But anyways, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this like massive white stroke. I think it could have been thinned out a little bit, or I don't know, maybe dropped entirely for like a drop shadow. Maybe not a drop shadow. The stroke is probably necessary. It's really cute. Like the color palette's really good. You essentially have Mew's eyes, and then I swear this is like what shiny Mew looks like, or maybe it's Mew's eyes. I don't know. It's a very simple color palette, very clean. It's cute. Also dynamic. I appreciate. There's got to be a better way to like represent this, like the team name. I don't know. Like, look at this, London Bisharps. Like, it's very easy to read because, again, it's like font choice, the way it's like aligned and organized in the logo. This is just, I mean, I get it's nice. It's not bad. I just like, that's the reason that we're not up here. And this one is just, I'm not super in love with the whole like triad color scheme, triadic. It's a color scheme where you pick 3 color. I think it's triadic is the word. But you like pick 3 colors and you design off that, and then it's like kind of layered and stacked. This is like a very common sort of like format for a logo, which makes it lose points, and that's why it's not up here. Okay, this one, the Golden State Glaceons, again, it's too much of a circle. Like you can just cut it in half, and like I get it, it's really easy to make a clean logo out of a circle. I think it's fine. The color palette I think is great. I probably would appreciate some shading or like one other color in here maybe. The font it ruins it for me. Like the color palette's great. I think this like golden blue is really, really cool. I think that there probably could have been like maybe like one other color added, because like the reason people go with like a 3-color scheme is because it's like eye-catching. It's inherently a little bit more contrasty, and you can get away with like a duotone color scheme as well. I just think that this one's maybe like a little bit too stark. I don't know. Really, I think the biggest deal here is that it's just a circle they cut in half. I mean, this isn't symmetrical, but the circle, I don't know. If the entire logo is a circle, it loses points for me. But also, the Golden State, the font kind of ruins it for me here. Yeah, Jack coming through, just always kind of like having top tier teams and logos. This logo is really cool. Super dynamic, super interesting. Like it's visually interesting. It's like maybe I mean, it's hard to tell when you look at it. Yeah, it's hard to tell. There's like an 8 behind this halucha. It's very black. Like when you're putting it on something, it's much easier to see than when it's just on a black background. But yeah, this logo is very like, it's visually kind of very compelling. I like the way it looks a lot. Super dynamic. I don't love shiny halucha. Like I think normal halucha's color scheme would have been a lot better. But that's also just like personal preference, which is I guess what this entire list is. Yeah, this logo is insane. I think it's actually better than Zoe's logo. It's really cool looking. Furious Fishes. We got Reversal's team here. This logo I think it's got some things working for it. I feel like I'm gonna harp on this a lot, and maybe people are not gonna like that I do. The font choice here I do not like. I'm also just, I don't think a big fan of the style. I don't know. It's kind of like, it's kind of disorienting to look at. Maybe, I know it's a Phoebus, like, or Phoebus, however you pronounce it. Like, I get that. I don't know. It's like a sort of like a sketchy style, which I think this is fine if it's like a picture, right? Like if you're going for like this art style. Okay. One, the artist who did this is talented, like way more talented than me. Let me get that out of the way before I like start critiquing this. This is not logo-esque, if that makes sense. Like logos should be like very clean, very they don't have to be minimal, but I think it definitely helps. Like this Gardevoir Guardians is a good example of like how less is more. Like you could have gone or put way more detail into a lot of these elements, and then it just would have looked cluttered, which I think one of the reasons that maybe I'm sort of like underselling Dan's logo is it's just kind of cluttered around the bottom half of the logo. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, this is fine if it's like a full picture of this, right? Like if you're trying to make this like your YouTube banner or something, like with this style of art. I don't think this style of art plays super well in a small format, and I don't like the font choice. So it's neat. Like I think it's cool. I just wish that it was maybe like a little more, I don't know, toned down, simplified. Kyle's logo is I almost want to take away points from Kyle's logo, because every time you load it into Photoshop or whatever you make your thumbnails with, like that was something I was going to critique a lot of these logos on, but I haven't used a lot of them. Like some people, you'll load their logos in and it's like massive. Oh, I think Kyle's logo is definitely a logo. I didn't mean to drop it, and this is neat. You'll load the logo in and it's like massive, and you have to shrink it down to like 15% of its original size. Some logos you'll load in and it's like very small. I think it's actually how mine is right now, because I, for whatever reason, can't find the original file. The original file is like, I think it's like a 2000 by 2000 pixel image, and I can't find it. So I'm just using like the one that it got like downscaled when I uploaded it to Twitter or something. I don't remember. Either way, the white outline around Kyle's logo kind of bugs me, which is why like I'm detracting points for that. I think this is also a logo that's like very much themed after the Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins. So very cool. Like I don't know what the logo looks like. I'm sure this is a great take on that. Again, I think there's just something about, I don't know, this logo is like, it's dynamic. It's got a good color scheme. I think it's like here-ish that kind of throws me off. Like how far this breaks the, I don't know. Like, I think if you're gonna break the sort of like the barrier of the sun behind the Donphan, going just like all the way to the right with the Donphan's nose isn't as visually interesting as if like you're sort of like breaking the barrier going like up and out. I don't know. Like for the, okay, to sort of like compare these side to side, right? Like, because they're both inherently like image on a circle. I wanted the Gardevoir to break the barrier of the circle, but I kind of wanted it to be look like it was in front of the circle, and this is, but there's also something about this nose being like, I don't know, it goes really far out from the logo. That kind of throws me off. The color scheme's great though. There is no font, which is also like super fine. I don't think every logo doesn't need the team name in it. I think that's super fine. But yeah, I think it's good. There's just something about like the way the logo breaks the barrier of the sun behind, and like also the like white outline of the sun, I think. Like, because if you load this into Photoshop, you can kind of see it almost looks like pixelated, or like it's just been cut from something else. Like if this entire logo was on a white background and you just cut it, it feels like there's remnant pixels left over. Like I would have liked to have seen that cleaned up and maybe stroked and like not white. I don't know. I think the white stroke here is not doing you favors because the entire, like, a lot of the logo is also white, or at least like all this portion here. I don't know. Anyways, this is my take on that. Big Leak Energy. I think his logo is actually really cool. The team name is, it's funny. The logo, I think, is inherently it's like very well stylized. Like I think Duncan probably hired someone who designs like logos that aren't normally just Pokemon logos, because there's like a very specific style, or like a generally accepted style for like Pokemon team logos, right? Like in the Draft League community. This logo, I think, inherently looks like if you take away the Big Leak Energy from the bottom, this logo could represent any brand that was like something nature-esque or like natural. So I appreciate that. I think it's super well stylized. I also like the font, the color palette's great. Yeah, I mean, I think this logo is probably up here, honestly. The logo is just very well done, and I super appreciate that. DC Dracovish. This is another one where it's like super symmetrical, and that kind of throws me off, I think. It's super fitting for who Wolf is as a human, and I can appreciate that. But this logo specifically, I'm gonna slam it here. It's a logo. It's maybe not the most visually interesting, and I don't know. The font choice is fine though, which is something I feel like I'm harping on a lot. So it gets that going for it at least. It's just, there's not a lot to say. Like, I think Dracovish is such a awkward and strange looking Pokemon. You could probably make this logo a lot more dynamic by just like taking it and turning Dracovish's head to the side, right? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I just am super averse towards symmetry. I guess that's what it is. Like, I know symmetrical things are nice and clean and fun to look at, but I feel like there's a time and a place. Yeah, who knows, whatever. Rotom Wash, Aaron Cybertron Zang. First off, it's a Rotom Wash, so it's immediately, no, I'm kidding. I think this logo is actually very well done. The color palette's great. Color palette looks good. I do not like Rotom Wash. I think it looks super stupid, but this is a logo is nice. You have like sort of the, I don't know, like the dynamic structure. It's not super symmetrical. I don't like how I can't read Melbourne, like, at all. I'm moving it around to see if it gets any better, and it doesn't. I'm sure it's fine when it's a larger size logo. I'm sure it's like A-okay. I can't read this even a little bit right now when it's small. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the font needed to be stroked or like different colors to be like a little bit more contrasty, like not these exact same colors. I don't know. But the logo design overall is fine. Like I said, like a lot of these, like the problem, like especially like the Toronto Maple Muse, this one, I think their problems get solved like the larger they are. Same for like the Aussie gliders, where I said it's like kind of hard to read gliders. So yeah, LA Spice. So this logo is interesting. It's kind of symmetrical. I'm having a hard time understanding if all these like little wisps of smoke are exactly symmetrical. I don't think they are. Okay, so logo design is cool. this is probably a hot take. I do not like something like, okay, I'm just gonna put it up here so we can see it better. This isn't its final resting place. I do not like the LA Spice being these like wisps of smoke. I think that's one, it's kind of clever, kind of, but it's also, I think, impossible to read from a smaller standpoint. Like, if you didn't know Kay's team was LA Spice and you looked at this, you might not even realize that those are letters, which is, I think, something that's kind of important. I think it's clever, but it super loses points for me because I think that it's almost close to impossible. I don't know. This is just something you learn about in like taking like these graphic design courses. Like when I would take like I don't know. I think I took up to like, it was like a junior level graphic design class, and I took a couple color theory classes. In general, for like logos, for things that people are supposed to be able to like recognize a brand from just an image, like, yes, eventually people will associate whatever image you tie to yourself as your logo or your brand, but they should be like, if there's text on it, they should be able to read it like from the get. And I don't think you can. I mean, it's cool. Like, I want to put it, I think the design is really cool. I almost wish that it didn't say LA Spice and these were just other wisps of smoke, because knowing that it says LA Spice like detracts. And I'm sure a lot of people are not gonna think like that. I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh, that's super cool, it's super clever, and it is. It like my phone went off. How unprofessional. It's like inherently like neat. The entire logo is very visually interesting, but dude, I can't get over it. I don't know. It would be like in between these tiers, I think. I just like, there's something about, also, I guess I should like start ranking things inside tiers. Yeah, it would be, it's like in between these two tiers, because I think it's a very super good design. I'm gonna put it here. It's in between the tiers. But this text, like, it looks so good. The entire logo looks so good, but the LA Spice really throws me. I don't know. And then Chicago Black Flock Moxie, easy rebrand. I'm kidding. I think this logo is actually really good. I think it's super good. It's like, the font is not something I like. It's not. I think it looks like kind of childish, but also it plays with the design of the logo very well. When I say childish, I don't mean like, it's just like kind of playful, I guess is what I should have said. I don't mean that to be like negative in any way. That's just like the style of font. It's like kind of whimsical, kind of playful. And normally I hate that. It plays with the design of this very well. Yeah, let's start ranking things inside tiers. I think Jack has the best logo in the league. I think this is actually probably, well, yeah, I think this is probably accurate for me. Let's see. Again, Kay's would be in between here. I just can't get over the wisps of smoke, man, because I think if you don't know her team name is LA Spice and you look at that, you're like, oh, cool, wisps of smoke. And for some reason, that subtracts a lot of points from me. I think we're gonna, well, yeah, I think this is good. I think out of, it's definitely a logo, Dan has the most interesting looking logo. Actually, I don't know. The circle takes away a lot of points from me. The fact that it's just like one shape. I think this is accurate. Well, actually, I think Wolf's logo, like for how clean it is, because it's also incredibly clean, right? Like super minimalistic, not a lot of clutter. I think that edges out Dan's a little bit. Also, I just like the font better. But again, this is probably like the Minnesota Vikings font. I'm not here to rate sports team logos. I'm here to rate Pokemon team logos. And then I would leave these as is. And then this is my logo. Okay, that's it. That's the list. I'm probably being like a little bit overcritical in some of these points. Like maybe I'm just wrong, or maybe you think I'm wrong, and that's okay. If you think so, then let me know in the comment section down below. We don't have to agree. We can strongly disagree. But yeah, this is the logo tier list. I think it is pretty accurate. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this, leave a like. Also, a question I have for people is, what kind of content do you want to see other than just like WBE, like the battles, the team builders, and just like sort of like rankings, uploads? Because I want to do like maybe play of the week or like cool sets people are bringing. If I can get people to send me sets, like I want to do a lot of like extra content, but anything not related to WBE. Like, what are you interested in? Tier list videos. I don't really want to do let's plays, so I'm just gonna scrap that, take that off the table right now. I want to do VGC laddering on just the in-game ladder. Would you be interested in that? Maybe testing out some wonky teams. Let me know. Let me know what kind of content you're interested in. If you would like to see me play VGC, I will be streaming today on twitch.tv/in_vivid_color. The moral of the story is it'll be the first thing in the description down below. Go follow me on Twitch if you want to watch me play games live. I would love to have you there. And again, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. That would mean the most to me. I am trying to now hit 5K by not the end of the month. I don't think that's doable. Maybe it is. Let's shoot for 5K by the end of the month. I don't think that's a thing, but we can try. If we don't hit it, maybe I'm trying to hit 5K within a month. So let's try that. Let's do 5K within a month from today. I'm super surprised at 4K, and thank you so much for that. Yeah, I think that's it. Follow me on Twitter and to keep up with me. These are all my things. This is the tier list. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But I feel like I've said that 17 times. I have. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. It means the absolute most. I'm kind of done here and I have to leave. Bye. Oh, you made it to the end of the video. That's dope. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to see more from me and make it to the end of those videos, there will be a video here and a video here. This one is a video that I think is really good, and this is what YouTube recommends. So you should watch one of them. Okay, thanks.